Welcome back. As the island continues to record new cases of COVID-19, including 20 being the all-time high number that was recorded on Thursday, Home Affairs Minister Hermangild Francis is imploring the rest of the nation to practice more empathy towards the high number of individuals who have recovered from the disease and are now reintegrating into their communities. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Less than a week after the island's Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George asked the nation to be more understanding and empathetic towards individuals who have recovered from COVID-19, the island's Home Affairs Minister Hermangild Francis is lending his voice to the matter as well, echoing the sentiments of the CMO. On Thursday morning, Francis said rather than stigmatize said individuals who are simply trying to reintegrate into society, it is important to be our brother's keepers and treat them with the care and understanding that is needed at such a trying time. He said no one asked to be infected and we are all susceptible.
COVID-19 is not a disease of lifestyle or anything like that, that you don't go out there and do something that and then you will get it. It is something that even if you take all the precautions and other persons, your neighbors, do not take the precautions, or even your workmates, your play mates and so on, do not take precaution, then you will get it. So the disease does not discriminate. It does not say, well, I'm going to only go after poor people or black people or white people. And we have recognized that the most powerful man in the world, the President of the United States, actually contracted it. Boris Johnson has done it as the Prime Minister of England, and now he's going through another phase of home quarantine because he was exposed to somebody who had the virus.
Those with a public platform should use their privilege wisely instead of exacerbating the problem.
Some of our leaders, some of our talk show hosts, and some persons who have influence in this society must stop what they're doing. I hear persons are saying that you need to actually say what district, what particular place the person who had the corona, the virus, to be from, so people will keep away from that person. You don't need that. I mean, the science has explained it, that you stay 6 feet away from somebody, you mask up, you sanitize your hand, you wash your hand daily. When you get home, you take off your clothes, and you do all these things. If you do that, then you will be safe. So to go and stigmatize people because that person has had COVID is really, really unfair. And I want persons to be your brother's keeper.
Francis said the identities of past COVID sufferers is no one's business except for one instance.
The last time we had the incident with the bus driver, the only reason why the bus driver's registration number was given, because he was not being cooperative. And as long as persons come there, you are very cooperative, and you tell us who are the persons you're in contact with. You should not know, as far as I'm concerned. Nobody should know exactly who that individual is and so on. It is not something that if you just casually walk by the street or you pass by the person, you'll get it. It is not so. So again, I want to ask St. Lucians to follow all the protocols.
Francis said today is theirs, but tomorrow could be your turn, and one should never work to be on the wrong side of karma. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The idea of enclave tourism has come into sharp focus amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. With St. Lucia continuing to record cases daily, will the island adopt protocols to further restrict the movement of tourists while on island and tourism workers? Nisha Charles tells us more in this report.
Enclave tourism is primarily designed to keep tourist communities and the local population apart. Caribbean destinations have engaged in some form of enclave tourism, particularly on cruises or all-inclusive resorts. With the advent of COVID-19, there has been a more concerted effort to minimize the interaction of tourists and locals. In the hot seat on Wednesday evening, Public Relations Manager Jerry Georges says that while tourism officials discuss how far they will adopt that type of tourism, the guidelines and protocols which are in place are being strictly adhered to.
So once the visitor then gets to St. Lucia, there are protocols to guide their movement in St. Lucia as well. So apart from going through the necessary screening at the airport, you must go via a certified taxi to your hotel, to your COVID-certified hotel. At the hotel, you're not allowed to leave and roam freely. You can only leave the hotel within the COVID protocols, which includes whatever tours that have been approved by the Department of Health and Wellness. So let's say you have to leave the hotel to go out on an approved tour, possibly to the Sulphur Springs. You must go via a certified taxi, or it must be organized through the hotel where they sail down and they take a taxi, which is organized from the Soufrière Bay to the Sulphur Springs, back to the Soufrière Bay, and then they sail back up to the various resorts.
The public relations manager was asked whether a time would come when hotel workers would be asked to stay on property for extended periods as a means of limiting interaction with the wider community.
I honestly don't see us going to that extreme, because for us, the emphasis has always been on health, and for tourism to ever be able to win or to continue, health must first win. So I honestly don't see us going to that extreme to honor that, the arrival of visitors.
For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
As men all over the world celebrate International Men's Day, the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association says men need to ensure they take care of their health. She says too often men only focus solely on proving that they are breadwinners and forget about their physical and, most importantly, their mental health.
Better health for men and boys is the theme under which International Men's Day 2020 was celebrated. The occasion was instituted to celebrate the achievements of boys and men in society. The day aims to not just address gender issues, but all other issues affecting men. President of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Merle Clark, says during this time where many people are struggling to deal with COVID-19, men in St. Lucia need to make a concerted effort to care for themselves.
The reality is that our men are often ignored sometimes when we speak of healthcare, and that needs to stop forthwith. Men are expected to be the strong providers for the family, in some quarters to go out and make the money and provide for their family, but their mental health in particular is ignored. And we need to do better in that regard. That our men, we need to encourage them more to take care of themselves. Ensure that based on your age, there are certain checks that need to be done on a yearly basis, that those are done.
The SLMDA president says while social ills plaguing St. Lucia's society affect everyone, many, such as crimes, seems to be perpetuated by men and young boys, and therefore policymakers need to implement social interventions for males.
When you look at social ills, such as alcoholism, such as crime, men are disproportionately affected. With the sheer number of homicides that have been this year and in years past, it's predominantly young men. We're literally losing a generation of young men, and that has to stop. Policymakers have an obligation to our young men to put into practice social programs that will help them move forward and do better as it pertains to their mental health, and that they're not killed or they're not maimed in serious crimes, gunshot wounds, stab wounds, chop wounds, which leave quite a few, the accidents on the road, which leave so many of our young men with serious injuries that make them not productive in the years of their life when they really should be the most productive.
She says while more initiatives need to be put in place for men, they need to take it up on their own to indulge in habits that are healthy and will boost their productivity as men.
It could be simple things, reading a book, yoga, meditating, just watching TV perhaps, that it does not have to be just stress all the time. And we globally are living through a pandemic, and men are affected as well. In fact, in St. Lucia, the trend is towards more females being affected, interestingly enough. And even that speaks to perhaps, is it that the women are going in for testing more than the men? There's so many factors that need to be looked at, but men do tend to ignore their health more so perhaps than our women, and that has to change.
Dr. Clark says for an effective society, the men need to ensure they are healthy and well. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzalez.
In commemoration of International Men's Day, the Hot 7 TV news team took to the streets where we allowed men to be the voice of reason and positivity to each other. Take a listen to their special messages.
Today, Thursday, the 19th of November, is International Men's Day. And so today I felt the need to send an important message to men. But since I'm a woman, obviously, I figured who better to reach out to men than men themselves. So let's hear what they had to say.
Yeah, well, today International Men's Day, I want to say greetings to all men in St. Lucia and around the world. First of all, I must honor my mentors, my father, Mr. Mike Daniel, for bringing me up in integrity and honesty. But I must say society is I am in dismay, disruption, because men not playing the role in the home. The man is creation. God put man as the head, and man have to fall in line, come back in line with the word of God, and be a priest to your children, instruct your children in righteousness. If you check the prisons, 70% of those who in prison did not know their father figure in their life, or did not know their father, didn't grow up with a strong father.
Happy Men's Day. I'd like to wish my father, Stephen Fortune, my boyfriend, Lindell, my son, my brothers, nephews, Happy Men's Day. Continue doing the good work, men. Those that know they're doing it, do it.
They have good men, they have bad men, they have bullers, they have all kind of men. But I think to myself, today is the today is what you say? Men's International Day. Okay, what I could say, I compliment all men like me, especially you.
Word of advice to young men out there, and also the younger men. I'd like to encourage men to be more patriotic, to have manners and respect, and to live an exemplary life, so the younger ones out there could pattern and follow up. Because at the end of the day, if men don't do what they have to do in the right way, then man will become an endangered species. So we want to look up to young men who would feed their children, who would care for the family, nurture the youngsters, send them to school, educate them, raise them with good moral standards and good self-esteem to boost up their self in life.
I feel all men should celebrate the day, just the same way like mothers, fathers, and families. Let's celebrate with the fathers and godfathers. You know what I'm saying? Today's our day. Let's celebrate it and have a nice day with no trouble, nothing. Just let's celebrate it.
Men's Day, I would like to encourage our men to continue being leaders and being engaged in the household. Take care of our kids, our responsibilities, and make sure we become better fathers, because by becoming better fathers, we encourage the future to be just better.
When we guys get older, it's the younger generation who will be leading on to take the role of Prime Minister, General Practitioner, Doctor, etc. So my advice to young men, lift up your heads high and always do the best that you can, so society could watch you as young and productive and vibrant men who will move the country. In other words, great men who sleep while others work, lift up a nation pillars to the sky. While my companions slept, I kept my candles torn out for the night. That's what I've achieved today. Hard work, patience, commitment, and dedication. Most of all, make Christ the center part of your life.
In society today, the ill society, because men have not been playing the rightful role. Men, I challenge you to step up. Don't try and get rich or die trying. A man's life don't consist in the abundance of what he has, a big car, of money thing. It consists of your heart and your integrity. Follow me, that you can be an example for our sons, for our children, so that we can take our rightful role in society. So men, take your role in your home. Instruct your children in righteousness, and then society will be better. There'll be less ills. Don't try and just amass things. And those men that are not feeding your children and you line in every place, if you can afford it, feed your own children, your own flesh and blood. But men have to rise up and take their place as leaders, as the Most High God appointed them to.
What wonderful words of wisdom. Well, on behalf of myself and the entire news team, I'd like to wish men in St. Lucia and the world a happy International Men's Day. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.